This is Valley View News, and these are today's headlines. Measles cases spread nationwide, affecting people who've yet to get vaccinated. And thousands gather for a 5K at the Rose Bowl to support autism awareness. Plus,
a Holocaust memorial sculpture. They wanted to do that.
A local artist finished a sculpture dedicated to Holocaust victims.
Hello and welcome to Valley View News. I'm Natalia Vivino.
And I'm Gianni Navarro.
Deputy Attorney General Rod Rosenstein has resigned effective May 11th. Rosenstein appointed Special Counsel Robert Mueller to investigate Russian interference in the 2016 election, causing tension between Rosenstein and Trump. After former FBI Director James Comey was fired, Rosenstein discussed wearing a wire to record conversations with Trump and recruiting cabinet members to invoke the 25th Amendment to remove Trump from office. Earlier this month, Rosenstein defended his handling of the Russia investigation. Rosenstein, in his resignation letter to Trump, wrote, "We keep the faith, we follow the rules, and we always put America first."
The Centers for Disease Control reports that measles cases nationwide are at an all-time high. Most of the cases involve people who weren't vaccinated. So far, 66 people have been hospitalized. Valley View's Henry Amezcua joins us live with an update on the cases at 2 Los Angeles universities.
In LA, hundreds of university students who can't prove they're vaccinated are being asked to quarantine themselves at home.
Well, if you don't know whether you weren't vaccinated, we need to see your medical records to clear you off. If you were vaccinated, then you should be okay. If you weren't vaccinated, then you need to be put in quarantine.
Students at California State University Los Angeles and University of California at Los Angeles are being quarantined after being in contact with a person with measles. Officials say at least 340 students and employees remain under quarantine.
I feel that the recent measles outbreak was surprising to me since it's a school and we should feel comfortable coming here and not worrying about that.
Some students at Cal State LA are thanking University Communications for quickly getting the message out to students about the possible outbreak.
I think they did a pretty good job of letting students know what the situation was, and when they found out that someone had indeed stepped into the library who had measles, they did a pretty good job of letting us know what we should do about it.
Dr. Monica Tantrapal is with CSUN's Clark Student Health Center. She says vaccines are effective.
Measles is a highly contagious virus, and if you get 2 doses of the immunization, that's about 97% effective in preventing the disease.
Anyone with symptoms is asked to check with their closest health center. Live in Northridge, I'm Henry Amezcua. Back to you in the studio.
Thanks, Henry. Today we feature 2 special reports focusing on the housing crisis in Inglewood. As an entertainment center and a light rail system are built there, some longtime residents find themselves being squeezed out of their community.
Inglewood is the local epicenter for community gentrification. Residents are facing skyrocketing rents because of development. Our entertainment reporter Christina Rodriguez explains how the community is affected by the building of the new Los Angeles Rams football stadium and other entertainment facilities.
Statistics show that since construction started on the Los Angeles Stadium and Entertainment Center, crime rates have dropped. But Inglewood residents still have another fear: higher rents because of new development.
The landlords are raising the rent twice the amount of money that we've been paying for rent for the last 40 years, and we have a problem with that. So what we're saying here in Inglewood is that so goes Inglewood, the city of champions, so goes the rest of the state of California and neighboring cities.
Gentrification and skyrocketing rent is an issue for small businesses and homeowners. The development has its pros and cons. Some locals say they're thankful for the economic boost and cleaner streets. They think the benefits are already being seen.
I even had to register my kid to Culver City School because I was afraid. I was afraid of the district, the parks. But now, since the runs are coming and the football is here, so the city is getting cleaner and nicer. I know this is gonna bring benefits to the city, so we're so excited.
Some residents say the Inglewood Police Department is doing a better job keeping the streets safer. Still, police statistics show Inglewood to be one of the most dangerous cities in the nation. That's reflected in the recent murder of rapper Nipsey Hussle. Tammy Adams says she's saddened by his death. She thinks he played a big role in keeping the gangs at peace. Now, however, she believes development will play a key role in keeping crime down.
The forum's there. I'm happy that the Clippers are going to be there. It's going to be like the sports mecca. You know what I mean? So I think that and all it deserves to be, and I think that it needs it. The forum used to crack back in the day. Now, it needs to be back this time. And I think it's going to change everybody because now you're going to have people from around the world coming to Inglewood, so Inglewood's going to be on the map now officially.
The 300-acre project will be the Los Angeles Stadium and Entertainment District at Hollywood Park. It is set to open for the 2020 NFL season. In Inglewood, for Valley View News, Christina Rodriguez.
There's one community group that's so far successfully fighting rising rents in Inglewood. Our Nicholas Logan has the story.
The sights and sounds of construction are now very familiar to Inglewood residents. Last February, the Girl Scouts of Greater Los Angeles built their new regional headquarters here. Now, the city is in the process of building a new multi-billion-dollar football stadium. And a $2 billion Crenshaw Light rail line will run through Inglewood. The community group Uplift Inglewood says it's all for development. It doesn't like the rising rent that comes with it.
So just because you have a stadium or a railway, Metrolink being constructed in the city doesn't necessarily mean that the cost of living has to go up in the city.
The Los Angeles Clippers also want to build a new stadium in the city next to the Forum. Many apartments in Inglewood are vacant. Longtime residents are leaving because they can't pay rising rent prices. Inglewood, known as the City of Champions, is being gentrified. That's causing mostly African American and Latino residents to be evicted from homes they've lived in for so long.
It's a lot of Black and Hispanic families that have got a foothold in this community. So when the city or anybody is trying to put an ordinance to tell you what to do with your own property, it's kind of ridiculous.
A number of Inglewood residents are safe for now. Last month, the city passed an ordinance protecting some families from rising rent prices. Now, more Inglewood residents hope the rent hikes can stop. They too want to stay and experience the new investments in the city.
I can't deny the benefits of being a homeowner and taking that initiative to purchase a property, and now you reap the benefits.
Uplift Inglewood has already done a lot to help its community, but with new developments and new renovations, there's still a lot of work that can be done. In Inglewood, I'm Nicholas Logan, Valley View News.
A memorial for the victims of the synagogue shooting in Poway, California is happening today. Police say 19-year-old John Ernest entered the building during a Passover service and began shooting. 3 people were injured, including 8-year-old Noya Dahan.
My uncle, he was holding my hand and he was grabbing me and stuff. And the person who was shooting, he was aiming at him. So it hit him, and where it's went like that, it hit me too.
Lori Kay, another member of the congregation, didn't survive. She died shielding the rabbi. Off-duty Border Patrol agent and Army veteran Oscar Stewart helped stop the gunman. He says he yelled at him and chased him out of the building.
I didn't see anybody else. All I remember is everybody was running. I heard the gunshots. Everybody ran out. I jumped up and I ran to the lobby. I was in the military, and I think that's what I ran to fire. That's what I did. I didn't plan it. I didn't think about it. It's just what I did.
Ernest is charged with 1 count of murder and 3 counts of attempted murder. Authorities say it was a hate crime.
With President Trump recently declaring Holocaust Remembrance Week, a sculpture created for a local synagogue dedicates itself to remember the victims. Valley View News reporter Brandon Iriarte has the story.
Yeah, I like it.
A gathering to see months of work. Members of Congregation Beth Shalom in Santa Clarita admired the finished sculpture art of Granville Beals.
To commemorate and pay honor to those who perished in the Holocaust and give remembrance to the Holocaust. In other words, a Holocaust memorial sculpture. They wanted to do that.
The sculpture is known for its symbolism. The meaning behind each part of the sculpture relates to the Holocaust story, and it drew the attention of County Supervisor Catherine Barger.
I mean, the symbolic nature of it, whether it be the railroad spikes or the 6 sides that represent the 6 million Jews, it's just very much reflective, and it's something that you take a step back and pause.
Some think, with the level of hate crimes in today's world, the sculpture and its meaning is more relevant than ever. The lessons taught are especially important to Rabbi Ron House.
There are still atrocities that are going on. We cannot afford to be indifferent.
Granville says the sculpture is a reminder for everyone that history will repeat itself when forgotten. And for him, that was the main purpose for his creation.
A sculpture that looks at hate, looks at the divisiveness between us and says, let's not do that anymore. Let's stop that. Let's stop that.
As the Holocaust has its place in history, so too will the sculpture. For Valley View News, I'm Brandon Uriarte.
In Apple Valley, a mother and her twin sister have been charged in the murder of her autistic 6-year-old son. Today, detectives are searching a local landfill. His grandmother says she was the last person to see Duke Flores 2 weeks ago, but his mother didn't ask for a welfare check until a week later. The mother, Jackie Contreras, was initially booked on a charge of child neglect for not reporting him missing. Now she and her sister are being held without bail in his murder. San Bernardino sheriffs say they think the boy's body might have been put in a dumpster.
Tennessee authorities have taken a man into custody for 7 murders. Officers in Sumner County responded to a 911 call and found 6 people dead at one home and 1 more at a nearby home. One of the victims were just 12 years old. Police say they fired at Michael Cummins during the arrest. He was taken to a hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. People who know Cummins say they're not surprised.
He's just, trouble, that boy. I went to school with him. They were in and out of trouble their whole life.
Officials say some of the victims are his relatives. They include his parents and an uncle.
The chairman of the House Judiciary Committee is warning Attorney General William Barr not to tell his committee how to conduct Thursday's meeting on the Mueller report. Barr told the committee he won't show up if lawmakers don't change the format of questioning. Chairman Jerry Nadler says he wants each committee member to have a 5-minute round of questioning. He also proposes the panel go into closed sessions to discuss the redacted sections of the Mueller report.
And that's a standard method of doing things. Sometimes it's used, sometimes it's not. It's, in my judgment, an effective way of doing things. And the witness is not going to tell the committee how to conduct its hearing, period.
If Barr refuses to appear, the committee says it's ready to use subpoena power. Avengers Endgame has smashed records.
Christina Rodriguez has more about its box office success. Tell us the numbers, Christina.
Thanks, Gianni. The numbers are in, and Avengers Endgame delivered the largest opening weekend of all time, totaling $350 million domestically and over $1 billion globally. This despite the fact the movie was more than 3 hours long.
How much we lost. It's about how much we have left. We're the Avengers. We gotta finish this.
Captain Marvel came in second with $8 million, La Llorona dropped to third, and Breakthrough came in at number 4, and Shazam rounded up at number 5. The Avengers Endgame has not only broken box office records, but also some hearts. We asked Marvel fans how they felt after watching the film, and some described their experience as an emotional roller coaster.
I cheered, I cried, it was a bunch of feelings. So yeah, now I'm just like, whew.
There's 5 stages of grief. Well, there was like 4 stages of emotion.
Everyone was screaming and shouting. You felt like everyone being so happy together and sad together.
That movie was definitely a tearjerker for me. I felt it in my heart.
When you grow so attached to these characters, like it's just, wow,
this is what I like. These are the movies I've been waiting out for.
I don't want to give anything away for people who haven't seen it, but you're in for an emotional roller coaster.
If you're planning on going, fans have come up with some helpful tips before watching. The tips are to bring tissues, avoid liquids for an hour before the movie, and lastly, use the bathroom right before it starts. Academy Award nominated writer and director John Singleton has died. He was 51 years old. Singleton had been in a coma after suffering a stroke on April 17th. CSUN Cinema and Television Arts professor Francis Gateward says he was the first African-American director nominated for an Oscar.
Singleton was really important for helping to bring in the Black Renaissance of the early 1990s. With Boys in the Hood, I'm not sure if your audience is aware, he was the youngest nominee ever in the writer category. So it was really an important film. Certainly the impact on the industry was tremendous.
Singleton was surrounded by family and friends when he passed away in Los Angeles. A Brazilian model has died at Sao Paulo's Fashion Week. Thalys Gota was walking the runway when he stumbled and fell to the ground. Guests initially thought his fall was part of the show until models began to help. Gota was taken to the hospital and pronounced dead. His cause of death remains unknown. Gota's girlfriend took to Instagram to pay tribute to her boyfriend. She says he was in good health before the show. That's all your entertainment news. I'm Christina Rodriguez. Back to you.
More to come on Valley View News. Mozambique's trying to recover from the strongest tropical storm ever to hit the country.
And a whale is found with military equipment off of Norway's coast. Stay tuned.
I've come up with a family emergency plan.
What is it?
It's difficult to talk about, so I'm not telling you.
I'm so glad I won't have to remember anything.
Me too. Visit ready.gov/kids for tips and information.
Now let's hear the latest on international news.
Here's Sandy Chavez in our Digital Media Center.
Mozambique's death toll from tropical cyclone Kenneth went up to 38 as aid struggles to reach the area. This is the strongest storm to hit the country since record keeping began, and the second storm to hit in 6 weeks. All flights are grounded, making it tough to get aid to the hardest hit areas. The National Institute of Disaster Management says flooding and winds damaged more than 35,000 homes. Flooding from a broken dike has forced thousands of people out of their homes in Quebec. 200 police officers and Canadian forces were helping people who sheltered in an arena nearby. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau says more than 2,500 homes have been damaged in Ontario and New Brunswick.
I want to thank all of the first responders and Canadians who've been helping their neighbors affected by the floods across the country.
Many of Canada's leaders have blamed climate change. Flood records have been broken across the Ottawa River. In the city of Pierrefonds, floods have happened off and on for at least 2 years. People are trying to build a permanent quarter-mile-long dike. The city of Montreal is expecting water to rise in the next few days. More than 270 voting poll workers died in Indonesia. The country held its largest single-day vote. The deaths may be from fatigue. The health ministry has urged facilities to take care of the election staff. This is the first time the country joined together for a presidential vote. Face covering is now prohibited in Sri Lanka. President Sisirena made the move after a series of bombings, killing 250 people. He said he wasn't aware of the bombings ahead of time, but believes this will strengthen national security.
I was not informed of information pertaining to this attack prior to the occurrence of the incident. The State Security Services had informed the Defense Minister.
The Easter bombings are still under investigation. Japanese Prince Naruhito will take the throne on Wednesday, and his wife of 26 years will not be able to watch. His father, 85-year-old Emperor Akihito, will be the first emperor to step down in 200 years. Japanese tradition forbids any woman from taking the throne, let alone be in the room during the ceremony. A beluga whale carrying military equipment was found off Norway's coast. Fishermen and scientists say the white marine mammal was wearing a special harness from Russia. It was equipped with a GoPro camera holder. It also had a label from St. Petersburg. The whale repeatedly approached Norwegian boats near the island of Murmansk coast. That's close to where Russia's northern fleet is located. The beluga was later freed. That's all for international news. Now back to you in the studio.
Now let's get the latest on health news.
Thanks, Gianni. April is Autism Awareness Month. Many people gathered this weekend at the Rose Bowl in support of autism awareness. Valley View News reporter Sydney Gamino was there.
Thousands gathered this weekend at the Rose Bowl for the 17th annual Autism Speaks Walk. The 5K helps people with autism and the families who support them. Cindy Manuel supports her son, Casey.
When we first came, it was just my husband and Casey, and we felt very alone, and it was very small at that time. And we decided we were going to be a team and not be sad about it and celebrate it. And that's what this does.
The event had many different activities. There were games for friends and family. It brings in new supporters every year, like Miriam Reyes.
It's kind of touching to see how many families are out here, how many groups, are combined to fight for this cause.
People created teams to help raise funds. Lisa Katz and her team raised more than $180,000 to help the autism community.
I think when he was first diagnosed, he was 2 years old, and you feel very helpless. And it felt like something we could do that was proactive and made us feel like we had a little more control over our situation and also do something good for a larger community.
All the funds raised today will go towards improving the resources, research, and special programs needed to improve the lives of those impacted by autism. Reporting from Pasadena for Valley View News, I'm Sydney Gamino.
The CDC is warning parents of a measles outbreak in infants. The feds have reported more than 700 cases overall. Infants usually get their first round of vaccines between 12 and 15 months. But because the virus is highly contagious, doctors are telling parents to take their babies between the ages of 6 to 11 months if they are thinking of traveling. If the child has been vaccinated twice, they have a 97% chance of preventing measles. The MMR vaccine infants get covers measles, mumps, and rubella. This weekend's National Prescription Drug Take-Back Day has been declared a success. The U.S. Drug Enforcement Administration coordinates the event for people to dispose of unwanted and unused prescribed medication. Police and sheriff departments provide the drop-off location, no questions asked. The DEA says over the past 9 years, 11 million pounds of medication have been collected. The CDC says kissing bugs seem to be moving north. The most dangerous part of the bug is its poop. The kissing bug has been in places like North Carolina, Kansas, and parts of the South. Infectious disease physician Tom Moore says when the bug defecates or is on a person's face, it can also spread a disease.
When patients, when they're sleepy and they rub the part where the skin or the insect has bitten them, they'll accidentally rub in the poop, which has the organism in it.
The bugs can be avoided by using pesticides, seal windows, and keep wood and rocks away from your home. A new form of technology could begin saving countless lives. For the first time ever, an organ was delivered by a drone. A kidney was flown less than 3 miles to the University of Maryland Medical Center. Dr. E. Albert Reese says drone delivery is safer, more affordable, and more reliable.
This will have a direct impact on improving patient outcomes where time is critical.
Figuring out how to get the organ to the recipient quickly could be the complicated part. Any delays could ruin the organ's viability. That's all for health news. Back to you.
Coming up on Valley View News, Boeing's CEO is trying to keep shareholders calm following 2 fatal plane crashes.
And Uber is going public. Stay with us.
When you're running your own business and taking care of your disabled brother, you tend to learn about responsibility pretty quickly.
Spotify has reached 100 million subscribers.
Here's Valley View's Veronica Barriga with social media and tech.
Thanks, Gianni.
Boeing executives are facing questions from shareholders. They're concerned about dropping stock value following 2 fatal crashes involving 737 MAX planes. Boeing CEO Dennis Muilenburg started the meeting with a moment of silence for all the people who died. He says the company has completed 146 test flights, and he personally flew on 2 of them. Outside the meeting, a small group protested in the pouring rain, with signs and pictures of several passengers who died in the flights. Muilenburg also said he'll be on the first flights once the planes return to service. Uber is going public, even though it's lost billions of dollars. Analysts say the company is following Amazon's lead. Amazon once lost as much, but still went public and has since turned a profit to become one of the world's most valuable companies. Uber's rival, Lyft, is a publicly traded company. Its stock is currently losing value. Spotify has reached 100 million paid subscribers, roughly half of what Apple Music has. Partnerships with Hulu, Google, and Samsung boosted Spotify's service by 32%. And the streaming service recently launched in India, which brought in 2 million more global users. Along with music, Spotify offers Hulu at no additional charge. The company's goal this year is to reach about 107 million paid users. Workers at Google are promoting a phone drive against the process of forced arbitration. They're asking people to make at least 3 calls to Congress to pressure lawmakers to ban the practice altogether. Google ended its use of forced arbitration in February. Forced arbitration is a process where disputes between workers and employers, for example, are settled in private by third parties rather than taken to court. Apple has removed several apps that enabled parents to track and limit their children's screen time. Apple says the apps were abusing a kind of technology that gave third-party access to users' location and cameras. 2 developers have filed a complaint with the European Union Competition Office. Now, Apple says this isn't a matter of competition, but a matter of security. Apple recommends parents use screen time software to track their children's usage. Samsung is pivoting. The Sero TV rotates between horizontal and vertical. The company hopes to encourage millennials to project their smartphone onto the TV. It also serves as a digital photo frame and music visualizer. Samsung's Bixby voice assistant will also be included. An official release date has not yet been announced. That is all for social media and tech news. I'm Veronica Barriga. Back to you.
Burger King's Impossible Whopper is here to stay. The company test released the burger earlier this month. It's made of a plant-based protein. Impossible Foods President Chris Finazzo says it's meant to give people another option.
The Impossible Whopper mimics the taste and feel of a regular Whopper. Reports say interest in plant-based protein from those concerned about the environment, animal welfare, and their own health continues to grow. That's all for us at Valley View News. Thank you for watching. I'm Gianni Navarro.
And I'm Natalia Vivino. For news any time of day, go to our website, sundial.csun.edu. See you next week.